This is not a drill. Avoid all human contact. Quarantine yourself in Harran. Harran has spoken. This video will solely focus on the Harran virus and the infected variants featured in Dying Light and the following. We will cover Dying Light 2 strain, THV, and its variants in a separate video. Before we delve into the infected, we need to understand the virus that started it all. If you would like to skip straight to the infected breakdown, head to the timestamp below. So what was the Harran virus? Well, in simple terms, it was a variant of rabies. Unlike the original virus, this strand had a crucial weakness: UV lights. The exact origins of the virus still remains unknown, leaving only speculations. There does seem to be a patient 0 who became wildly violent when infected. At first, the authorities in Harran mistook the outbreaks for isolated incidents. No one recognized the danger until it was too late. When a wound is left to fester, the consequences are catastrophic. As the initial epidemic continued to spiral, the government's response was slow, ineffective, and ultimately disastrous. By the time the GRE intervened, there wasn't much that could be done. The walls went up, and Harran was left to fend for itself. Transmission occurs through bites, scratches, or contact with the infected bodily fluids. Once infected, the host shows symptoms like seizures, hallucinations, blurred vision, hair loss, pale skin, bloodshot eyes. As the infection progresses, victims lose their humanity, succumbing to uncontrollable rage. They lash out violently, attacking others, which in turn continues the cycle. If you become infected, Antacin could delay the transformation, but it only delayed the inevitable. So there you go. However, that's not the full story. The Harran virus mutated its victims, creating various different infected variants in Dying Light and the following. Let's break down each variant. Virals. These are recently turned humans. In these early stages, their consciousness hasn't fully disappeared, and with little exposure to the sun, their bodies remain mostly intact, allowing them to run. Unlike biters, they opt to beat their victims rather than biting. They can recognize danger, dodge attacks, and even fight back. Sometimes, you can hear remnants of the person they once were begging when reaching critical help. Biters are the most common type of infected, but they vary in strength depending on how long they've been exposed to sunlight. The more exposure, the more degraded and brittle they become. Alone, a biter is weak, but in swarms, they become lethal. Some even carry weapons, and during the night, some can roar to alert volatiles. There is a possibility for a biter to go through a sudden mutation, turning them into a night walker. Bruisers. Native to the countryside, bruisers are biters that have undergone a mutation, making them significantly stronger and more durable. They are found walking among biters, but can be identified by the necrosis on their bodies. Toad. A rather weak infected with a toad-like appearance. It's capable of jumping from rooftops with ease. It is one of the few long-ranged infected, spitting this acidic green phlegm. However, their durability is weak, and it is as to why they keep their distance from their victims. Bomber. As its name suggests, bombers explode. Once they see their victim, they'll charge at them and detonate whether they reach them or not, with the explosion attracting virals. They are bloated, exposed organs visibly pulsate, and they emit painful whimpers, making them easy to identify. It's best to dispatch them from a distance. Goon. Standing at 8 feet tall, gooners are slow but more resilient and stronger than biters. Armed with a concrete-covered rebar, they swing with devastating force. The more injured they become, the faster and more aggressive they get. Goons come in 3 ranks, distinguishable by their clothing. Higher ranks are significantly tougher to take down. Screamer. Children who've succumbed to the virus. Unlike other variants, they are defenseless in combat and resort to emitting an ear-piercing cry that stuns and damages its victims. Their wails attract numerous infected. Despite their frailty, they are dangerous if not silenced quickly. It is unknown whether their scream is meant as a trap or a fearful reaction when encountering a person. Demolisher. Former riot police. Demolishers are massive, armored, and brutally strong. It is the largest and strongest among all variants. They can toss cars aside, rip up concrete, and charge at their victims. While their attacks are slow, the power behind them is unmatched. Freaks of nature. I'll probably butcher his name, but we have Beelzebufo, the toad variant. Enormous compared to the standard toad, Beelzebufo has significantly more health and damage output. It is tremendously dangerous and should be fought at a long range. Can be found at this safe zone. David and Goliath. These are powerful mutants of a biter and viral with enhanced durability and strength. David is agile and aggressive like a viral, while Goliath is slow but can knock a survivor down with a single hit and charge slowly over short distances. Holler and Behemoth. Both of these tyrants are harder to kill than your typical Demolisher and have increased damage. Behemoth does seem to be a little stronger than Holler. Thor, a towering gooner, the goon of all gooners. Abnormally large, he's slow moving but immensely powerful. Be cautious when it slams its rebar, as this can trigger gas tanks to explode. Nighttime infected. Nightwalkers, a transformation caused by a sudden mutation. They resemble virals but are faster, stronger, and more aggressive. Once exclusive to nighttime, they now appear during the day and the following. Their mutation can cause a domino effect where their victims can quickly become overwhelmed. Relentless and aggressive, Nightwalkers seem to have one goal only: to kill. Bolters. Grotesque in appearance, their bodies are covered in glowing green lumps. Bolters are a result from consuming the baits laid out by Dr. Zier. They prefer to flee rather than fight and can summon volatiles to aid them. Their durability is rather low and they only appear during the night. Volatiles, perhaps the most terrifying of variants. Their appearance is monstrous and devoid of their human characteristics. They have a split jaw, exposed muscle and bone, and a protruding ribcage. They are fast, with the capability of clearing obstacles with ease. These predators can pounce, spit acidic phlegm, and can attack with brutal precision. However, despite their power, they are extremely weak to UV lights, therefore appear only during the night. Alpha volatiles. Covered in a dark blue chitinous armor. Alphas are twice as vicious, strong, fast, and more effective than the standard volatiles. When attacking, they sometimes ignore UV lights and press their attack without hesitation. Sentient Volatiles. These rare infected result from consuming a failed blue bioweapon vial created by the military. They display telepathic abilities and higher intelligence. Only two are known to exist: the Mother and Kyle Crane. Night Hunter. The apex of all infected, controlled by players in Be the Zombie mode. It has 3 levels of mutation, with each unlocking new abilities. It moves swiftly using its tendrils to swing through the environment. It's seen typically guarding volatile hives, and it uses its howl to reveal its victims. It can use a combination of all other previous infected abilities, but with more precision. It can spit, charge, bite, claw, ground pound, howl, and use its tendrils for movement and trap its victims. Scrapped Infected and Dying Light. Not officially in the game, but worth mentioning. An unreleased Infected. The design featured a bloated woman covered in pustules and pus oozing out of her, possibly a mutation by the virus or water exposure. She may have had a poison-based attack or a grab mechanic, potentially boss-type enemy that was ultimately left out, leaving only speculation behind. That wraps up all the infected featured in Dying Light and the following. With such a wide variety of mutations, it's no wonder this zombie game is considered one of the best, if not the best, out there. If I missed or got anything wrong, please let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, or don't, as long as you enjoy the video.